Welcome to the deep dive. So if you're listening to this, chances are you're a competitive golfer, and you're probably stuck in that really frustrating place in the game. High single digits, maybe low double digits.
Right.
You've put in the time, you bought the expensive launch monitor, you've hit balls until your hands are raw, but you just haven't broken through to that scratch or plus handicap. So why isn't all that effort leading to, predictable progress?
That is the perfect question. It really captures that feeling of just information overload, but without any real implementation.
Yeah.
Most players in that zone, they feel like they need a secret, some new technical fix, a new swing thought. A new club, always a new club. But we are cutting through all that noise today. Our source is a PGA Professional Henrik Jentsch.
Okay, Henrik Jentsch.
Yeah, he's the director of Golf Academy 360 Degrees, and he's coached players right up to the European Tour. He's seen this problem a lot.
And what he found after years of doing this, it completely flips the script on how to improve.
It does.
His whole thesis is that getting to scratch is absolutely not about constantly rebuilding your swing or just spending more hours on the course. It's about structure.
Precisely. We're going to dive deep into the prerequisites and then the 5 simple sequential principles he uses to take players from just a talented amateur to a genuine scratch golfer.
So if you're looking for an actual blueprint for success, this is your deep dive.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's start with the foundation. Jentsch calls this the one prerequisite that basically nobody talks about.
Yeah.
He uses his own story as the example. He started golf seriously at 28, and he was trying to balance everything, building a business, playing competitive tennis, and then trying to fit in his golf practice.
And he was physically there on the range, but mentally, he was just everywhere else.
Right.
What's so fascinating is his realization that he was just disengaged. He was practicing, but the second he hit a bad shot or something didn't feel quite
The focus would just shatter.
It would completely fracture. He realized he wasn't truly grinding with any purpose. He was just, going through the motions to check a box.
We all do that, right?
Yeah.
We confuse the time we spend with actual quality progress.
All the time.
But Jentsch realized that if you want to be in the top 1%, and a scratch golfer is the top 1%, you can't treat it like a hobby.
It can't be a side hustle. It requires your full, undivided attention. The prerequisite is this. For a set period, let's say a season or 1 year, it has to become your project.
Your project.
You have to mentally commit. You give yourself permission to pause other smaller priorities to make genuine progress. It's a real commitment.
Wait, I have to challenge that for a second. That sounds intense. A lot of golfers have jobs and families. Are you saying if I can't dedicate my life to it, I can't get to scratch?
No, not at all. And that's a great point. Jentsch emphasizes full attention when you are there.
Okay.
So if you only have 5 hours a week, those 5 hours need 100% of your focus, free from mental distractions, free from the pressure of other commitments.
So it's about the intensity of the commitment, not just the hours.
Exactly. It's about optimizing the time you actually have.
That makes a lot more sense. And that actually brings us to the next really essential piece of this foundation, which is mindset and belief.
Absolutely. If you don't genuinely believe scratch is possible for you, the rest of this, all the work, it's kind of pointless.
Belief is what gets you through the tough spots.
It's what allows you to survive those really uncomfortable phases of improvement. The mental structure you need is a pre-shot routine that's robust enough to handle pressure, even when you're tired or frustrated.
The goal isn't just to stand over the ball and hope you don't mess up. It's looking at the challenge and saying, all right, bring it on. Let's see what I'm made of. And what I found so powerful was the internal mantra he used to, lock in that belief when things started to go sideways on the course.
He had these 3 deliberate commitments he'd say to himself whenever he felt that urge to quit or let a bad score ruin the day.
What were they?
I am not the person who quits because things get tough. Then, I am not the person who lets one bad shot destroy the next one.
Wow.
And finally, I'm not the person who gives up when it becomes uncomfortable. That level of internal self-talk, that's the engine that drives this whole system.
So how do we bridge that gap from this really powerful internal belief to actual measurable action?
Well, now we move to the second major principle in his system. This is all about clarity. Step 2. Measurement.
This is where most golfers fail.
Oh, absolutely. They are constantly guessing what's holding them back. They just assume they know their weakness, often based on, one really emotional round.
So our brains are essentially lying to us. We remember the disasters, right? The double bogey on 17.
Vividly.
But we totally forget the 3 2-foot par putts we missed earlier that actually killed the round.
Exactly. It's a huge cognitive trap. Jentsch himself thought his short game was his biggest weakness. He was convinced of it.
And it wasn't.
Not even close. When he actually tracked his performance honestly, the numbers showed his approach play was costing him way more strokes than his chipping or putting. Without measurement, you're prioritizing guesswork.
So you need real, objective data. If you don't have a tracking system, he says to start with 4 simple metrics.
4 foundational metrics tracked over at least 5 rounds. That's key.
What are they?
Okay, first, how many greens in regulation you hit? GIR. Second, how often your driver leads to trouble, so penalties or recovery shots.
Okay.
Third, your total number of 3 putts. And fourth, how often you need more than 1 chip to get the ball on the green.
Those 4 things tell you where the biggest leaks are.
They give you the honest picture.
And once you have those numbers, you move straight to the next stage, which is diagnosis. Understanding the cause of the leak, not just the symptom.
And this is where you see the real difference between a good amateur and an expert. The amateur gets the data, let's say, my driver's terrible, and immediately runs to YouTube to find a new swing fix.
Right.
The expert pauses, they diagnose.
So when Jentsch realized his driver was the problem, he didn't just overhaul his swing.
No. He took 20 to 30 drives over several sessions, and he tracked every single result, looking for a clear, repeatable pattern. The cause has to be identifiable.
And what did he find?
His diagnosis was incredibly specific. He was consistently missing off the toe with a closed club face. That pattern was the cause of his bad shots. It's why they started left and then hooked even further left. It wasn't random bad luck. It was a mechanical error creating a predictable outcome.
That distinction is so important. Once you diagnose that specific pattern, that clear mechanical cause, then you can look for a solution.
Then and only then. You select one technical adjustment paired with one skill-based drill to attack that specific cause. A coach definitely speeds this up, but the principle is the same. Identify the single pattern before you try to fix the symptom.
And this data, this diagnosis, it lets us move into the third crucial stage, sequential improvement.
Or prioritization. This is where we apply those numbers we just gathered to avoid trying to fix everything all at once.
Jentsch uses the perfect analogy here, doesn't he? Building a house.
Yeah, it's great.
If you try to pour the foundation, put up the walls, and attach the roof all at the same time, the whole thing just collapses into chaos. You have to stabilize one element before moving to the next.
And trying to fix your slice, your short game, and your 3 putts all at the same time?
Yeah.
It's just busy work. You feel like you're doing a lot, but you make 0 actual progress.
So the structure requires that you use your stats to find the single part of your game that offers the biggest potential gain.
Right. Stabilize that one area until the metrics improve, and then you move on.
Okay, so let's get specific. Let's use his decision metrics.
Yeah.
If your tracking shows you're not averaging close to, say, 11 greens in regulation,
then your priority is clearly your driving or your approach shots, period. Yeah. You cannot be worrying about delicate flop shots if you aren't even hitting the greens.
Right. On the other hand, what if your data shows you're making 2 or more 3 putts per round?
That is a massive stroke leak. That needs immediate, focused attention before you even touch your driver. He actually suggests using tools like the Puddleize app to really zero in on your pace control and green reading.
Or maybe you're always needing multiple chips to get the ball in the green.
Then you lack a defined short game concept. So your priority becomes creating one, stabilizing that process, and getting rid of the hesitation that leads to bad contact.
The message is clear. Pick one brick, lay it perfectly, and then move to the next.
And once you have that one priority area and that one technical fix, we move to the final critical step, doing the work correctly.
Jentsch calls this the difference between practicing to feel good and practicing to actually get better.
Yes.
And this is where that amateur cycle just repeats itself. The new move feels amazing on Tuesday at the range. You're flushing every shot. You think you've fixed golf forever.
And then you show up on Saturday and nothing works.
Nothing. It's all gone.
That failure isn't a flaw in the plan. It's a necessary step. You have to stay committed through what he calls the uncomfortable phase, where the new move feels awkward and might even lead to worse results for a little while.
And to push through that, you have to differentiate how you practice.
Exactly. There are 2 types of practice that are necessary for real progress.
What are they?
The first is skill practice. This is your technical work. The goal here is learning to control strike quality and swing path on command. It's about building the mechanics.
Okay, so skill practice gets the movement right. But why isn't that enough? Why do those perfect range shots just disappear on the course?
Because that learned skill has to be portable. It has to work under pressure. That's why you need the second type, performance practice.
Well, performance practice.
This means playing practice rounds that are specifically designed to build trust in that new skill when it actually matters. You have to deliberately introduce pressure and distractions.
Okay, give me an example. How do I make the range feel like the 18th hole?
You practice pressure points. So instead of hitting 10 balls to the same pin, you might make yourself hit 2 different clubs to 2 different targets perfectly.
And if you fail?
And you start the whole drill over. Or you simulate the final hole. You have to hit the fairway, land the approach in the front right part of the green, and sink the 3-foot putt. If you miss any part of it, you lose the drill.
You're intentionally creating stress.
You're creating stress and decision-making scenarios in practice to inoculate yourself against the pressure on the course.
That's a huge distinction. It's not just hitting balls, it's rehearsing the feeling of execution when the outcome actually matters.
Absolutely. And hand in hand with that is strategy. Jentsch is huge on this. Your course management has to realistically match your current skill level.
We see this all the time on par 5s.
Oh, exactly. If your data shows that reaching a par 5 and 2 is just unrealistic for you right now, maybe you only hit 60% of fairways and your long iron is erratic, you have to stop trying to force it.
Just
plan it as a smart, deliberate 3-shot hole. Play for position off the tee, hit a safe layup that guarantees a good wedge distance, and then attack the pin from a yardage you're comfortable with.
your strategy has to support the skills you have today, not the skills you hope you'll have next week.
Yes.
So this whole framework,
Yeah,
it's a disciplined, closed-loop cycle of improvement.
it is. It starts with internal focus and belief. Then it moves to objective measurement of those 4 key stats.
Which leads you to isolate one fix based on that data.
Then you do a specific diagnosis of the cause, implement targeted skill and performance practice, and then, and this is the most critical part, you go right back to step 2.
And you reassess your statistics to find the next brick to stabilize.
That's the loop.
That repetition, that disciplined cycle of measure, diagnose, correct, that's the difference between just hoping and actually making sustained progress.
It really is.
And for you, the learner, who might be wondering, okay, where in that cycle do I even begin? Jentsch offers a really powerful final insight.
Yeah, this comes from years of coaching high-level players. For most golfers in that 8 to 12 handicap range, the biggest, quickest gains almost always come from the approach game.
Really?
Yes. If your metrics confirm that's where your biggest leaks are, meaning your greens in regulation are low, then systematic work on your approach shots is highly recommended as the very first area to stabilize.
Get that foundation solid and everything else gets easier.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for you right now? Well, the path from crawling to walking to running is built one stable brick at a time. What small, single area, that one specific data-backed technical weakness, will you choose to stabilize first before you even attempt to build the rest of your scratch game?
That decision, made today based on your diagnosis, that's the absolute start of your project.